Hello everybody, welcome to episode 58 of the PMD Tea Buyers Club. I'm your host, Alan De Silva. Just got in from being down in the southwest of England today, down in Wiltshire, seeing a new hotel that is going to go through a lot of refurb, catching up with an old friend that I haven't seen in a long time. So yeah, interesting to hear about their plans. Don't want to reveal who it is. I'll tell you once we close them. Now, today's episode 58, we're on a bit of a roll now, is about the green tea that I should have tasted last week, but because we hit this milestone, I decided to open a bottle of Glenfarclas. Cracking stuff, check out the episode, it's probably something for a Friday. But we are here back to tasting teas, back to me doing my day job, and I should definitely leave the whiskey reviewing to Mr. Ralphie. So, looking at 3 green teas that are made in Sri Lanka, looking at what other kinds of flavors that are out there. Obviously, much like black tea, green tea varies from estate to estate and the types of flavor that they'll throw out. The 3 types of green tea that I've got here today are all from the Chinese method of manufacture. Now, there are 2 main methods of making green tea. One is the pan-fired Chinese method, and the other method is steaming, which is the Japanese method. And you'll get fundamentally 2 different flavors of tea coming out from 2 fundamental flavors coming out from the cup, depending on which way you make it. So you can take the same leaf and you can pan fire one, you can steam the other, and you will have 2 very different and distinct cups of tea. These 3 teas that I've got in front of me have all used the Chinese pan firing method. So they will have much more of a thicker, grassier taste, whereas the steamed ones tend to be a lot more sweeter, they tend to be a lot more lighter in flavor. And if you want to try out some really good Japanese steamed teas, look at teas from Japan. This is the method that Japan make their green teas in. They steam them, which is why that Japanese tea has that very creamy texture to it. I tend to find, at least. Anyway, so I've got 3 estates. I've got Radela Estate, obviously in Radela. So if you think of Sri Lanka in the Vimala region, as you're heading up to Nuwara, so you're at about sort of 5,500, almost 5,500 feet. So it's between Talawakele and Nanoyo. If you're ever taking the train up that way, you'll pass Radela Station. This is where you'll find Radela Tea Estate. I've got Glassau, I think that's at least how you pronounce it. This is in Nuwara, so a little further up from Radela. And then I've got Melfort, which is over in Pusillawa. So 2 estates, one by Talawakele Plantation, one by Kalnia Valley, and one by Pusillawa Plantations, all do some cracking green tea. Let's get into the episode. So first of all, just going by nose, Radela, GP1. GP1 stands for Gunpowder 1. On the nose, what does it smell like? Well, honestly, it smells like, when you have vegetables that have been left at the back of your fridge and they've gone off, and you sort of, one Saturday or Sunday morning, you open your fridge up and you're looking for what that bad smell is, and you finally open that drawer and you find the vegetables all gunky at the back and you've just got to throw it out. That's what this Radela GP1 smells like. I'm giving you my honest opinion, no tasting notes here, no sort of tasting terms. It smells like gone off veg in your fridge. Glassau. Gunpowder extra special. So the leaf, and I'll show you guys the leaf in a second, a lot smaller, but on the nose, very nice. Very sweet. Very, very sweet, almost vanilla-y and toffee, but a very pleasant nose. So different to this, which is very, almost gone-offy and pungent and horrible. Melfort GP1, different grade of tea, same grade as the Radela, and again, very pungent, very, almost gone-offy, vegetative smell. But I think the Radela has much more of a pungent, gone-off smell. So on the nose, by far, Glassau GP Extra Special wins. Let's have a look at the leaf. Now, if you look at the leaf, what am I looking for when I'm looking for a good green tea? Well, the first thing I'm looking for is this. The leaf must be even. I want nice evenness, and the leaf must be green. I personally like to have to see a nice GP1 that has that deep, dark, jungle green note to it. Things that I don't like to see, and I'm going to pull this over for you in a second, is some of the particles that I'm pulling out here. You know, you must have, in whatever tea it is, whether it's a green tea, a black tea, you must have particle consistency. And here is a good example of lacking particle consistency. And I think if these guys just clean this tea up a bit, I mean, here you've got some open and flaky tea that's here, you know. On the whole, the leaf isn't too bad, if I'm being honest. But there's just these little particles, and I'm going to pull them out, and I'll show you what I mean. They're just not pleasing on the eye, and personally, I don't like to see this in my tea. This is what, you know, this is when I get very pernickety. And look, this one is open and flaky. You've got a bit of stalk in it. So if I actually bring this round here, and I show you what I mean by, you know, the leaf, I flatten this all out, you know, the leaf must look even. It must look even. It must not have items like this. Now this is stalk, this is a flaky particle, and this is what you find through the leaf. You know, I can just pick out the stalk here, you know. You know, there's the particles aren't even. If you look at this item here, it's completely in a different shape to something like this. You must have even particle size in whatever tea that you're making, you know. So on the whole, the leaf out of Rardella GP1, not too impressive. It's a bit stalky, there's a bit of flake, you know, different shades of green. Some look very dark, some look lighter green, you know, not too impressed by it. On the eye, it's not the most impressive. Let's have a look at the glass out. Gunpowder extra special, lighter green, but just on the eye, it does look like a more even leaf. Certainly much less stalk. Particle size is much more in keeping with everything else, and a very nice tea actually. I mean, there is a little bit, but you know, of course, you're going to find, you know, you're going to find things like that. But on the whole, I'm going to send this over, and what I'll do is I'll also put a few pictures on the Instagram stories. You can see what I mean. Much more even in particle. You haven't got these open flaky ones. The colour is nice and even as well. Yes, there is a little bit of stalk. I mean, this is the one piece that I've pulled out. But in all fairness, you know, I think this is a pretty good leaf. Oh, I would be interested to see how this tastes. And I've got green tea all over my tweeds. And the reason why I'm wearing tweeds today is that it's absolutely freezing cold. I think it's all of a sudden dropped. We had some very mild weather here in the UK. And all of a sudden it's just gone completely downhill, and you're at about 3-4 degrees Celsius and it's raining. So, Melford GP1, again with a pungent smell. Now, very different leaf style from the Melford compared to the Rardella. The leaf is a little bit bigger, but again, just really bad sifting process and a really bad bulking process. I mean, straight out of the gut. Look, you know, huge, flaky particle. You know, again, nice chunk of stalk. I'm going to bring this over and I'll show you what I mean by uneven leaf. You know, look at this. I'll pick this out for you. Right? Flaky. Flaky. Stalky. You know, it's no two particles in this tea are the same. And you can see what I mean just in these three, just in these bits of tea that I pulled out. This is an example, you know, of bad sifting, and then again, bad bulking. Bad bulking of tea, I don't particularly like it. Particle size is a little big. Personally, I prefer the smaller type particle size. So, if we put that one away, let's have a look at the actual aroma on the nose of these teas. What do we have? The infusions look alright. This one looks a bit dull. It's a bit bright. This is again a bit dull as well. Let's have a look in terms of smell. You're getting that sort of gone off vegetable smell out of this tea. Not as bad as the actual dry nose, but that little bit of vegetative smell. This is absolutely amazing. Really nice smell. Really nice aroma. Very sweet. You almost want to drink this right away, just off the aroma of a tea. You want to drink this. It smells sweet. It smells creamy. Almost reminds me of sag paneer. Anyone had sag paneer? Sag paneer is, when you go to an Indian restaurant, paneer is cheese, sag is spinach, and it's a type of dal. I personally like to have that when I go off to Imran's with Nadine, when I'm in Birmingham. Very nice aroma to it. Melford, what have you got for me? This reminds me of being in Petta and going past a vegetable market. A very deep vegetative taste and smell, not taste but smell. It's not really too appealing, to be honest. If you smell these three, certainly the Glassau is a standout. Let's actually have a look at the cups. The Melford you can see straight away, very light. Now Melford is down in Pussalav, it's mid-grown, lighter tea here. The Glassau is much darker, and the Radella is between the two. So let's give these a taste. That horrible vegetative taste comes right through in the cup. On the sides of your mouth, it just tastes like, you've taken a handful of that gone off vegetable, chucked it in your mouth in the morning because you've been, that hungover and there's nothing else to eat in your fridge. That's how that green tea tastes. Not my cup of tea. Glassau, what have you got for me? Very nice cup of tea, very sweet, very creamy. It has a little, hint of astringency, but not too much. It's a very nice tea. The biggest flavors that you get on the side of your palate are the sweetness, just a little touch of astringency right on the tip of your tongue, but a very nice tea. This is something that you could, sit and you could really drink after a meal. Has nice thickness, has nice bite to it as well. Being a green tea, it's not too thin on the palate. A very nice green tea. That smell and that flavor that you get here and that you get here really comes through in the cup, which is why a lot of the time it's sad to see this. A lot of tasters don't go by nose. Nose is so important, and the aroma of a tea will come out in the cup. And this is why I always tell planters in Sri Lanka, make teas that Ceylon has been known for. Make teas that have aroma, that have, if you have aroma, you'll get the flavor in the cup. If you're just making thick and colory tea, it's not what we do best in Sri Lanka. We make, flavory aromatic teas. That's why people like Ceylon tea, not to have thickness and color. Going back to my Melford green tea, off my rant. Oh, that is absolutely not a nice cup of tea. Very pungent, very thick, even on the sides of your palate, even in the middle. These two really just have a horrible astringency to them. Not the type of tea or flavor that I'm looking for at PMD. This is a very interesting estate. I'm definitely going to go and pay more attention to the types of teas that they're making. I think any improvements really. I think it would just be if I was to speak to this estate, I would say just for me here, just to improve on the leaf. If we just improve the leaf just a tad, sorted out some of these odd little particles. We sifted it, but we don't want to over sift it. We don't want to lose that nice greenness that this leaf has, and to give it to that. Because when you over sift a tea, you end up with this greyish dullness to the outside of the leaf. So we don't want to do that. But if we could just sift it a little bit more, pull out some of these flaky particles, I think we'd be onto a winner. That would be my only recommendation to them. But a very nice tea, very interesting cup. So episode 58, my winner of the day, Glassau Estate. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Follow us on Facebook and on Instagram at PMDT. Until next week, and there will be a next week's episode, because if I don't, my ops manager will kick my ass. I will see you all next week. Cheers, thanks for watching.